Within the pre-award stage of procurement, there are a number of areas in which the process can be manipulated to facilitate fraud. We're going to discuss several of these areas and highlight a number of methods of how fraud can be facilitated. Within the initial identification of need, where there isn't clear management or oversight of this stage, there is an opportunity for a requirement to be invented or falsified to divert procurement of project funds after the contract award. Fraud risk may be created within the justification where there is a lack of justification or content within a business case, or where there is an overemphasis on the business benefit to justify the funds required. Within the design stage of a project, can it be created to favour a vendor, or is the design deliberately inadequate that will require additional variations during the lifetime of the contract? Can the scope or specification of a requirement be written to favour a vendor, or to designate a brand product when a generic brand would suffice? A budget and cost estimate can be falsified or inflated to hide the level of fraud within projects, where more than one cost centre or budget is used to hide the total cost of a project. The procurement route can be manipulated away from the tender process to single source procurement or a restricted tender to avoid competition or ensure that a designated vendor is awarded the contract. Particularly within restricted tenders or low-value procurement, to manipulate the tender process, vendor identification is used to give the appearance of competition. Vendors may be identified that are inadequate and won't pass the evaluation process to ensure agreed vendors receive the contract award. The pre-qualification process can be manipulated where poor submissions or falsified vendor submissions are allowed through this process. The bidding process can be manipulated in several ways. That includes during the bid response, where timescales are shortened for bid responses to ensure minimal responses within the competitive process, so that the vendor that has received prior notice is awarded the contract. The selection matrix can be used to manipulate the vendor selection through the amendment of selection criteria or the introduction of additional criteria that will benefit a specific vendor. The selection of a vendor during a tender process can be manipulated through a conflict of interest or deliberate incorrect scoring. Patterns of fraud risk in a tender process in the areas discussed would include the percentage and root cause of bids where only one vendor responded. Through delays to the selection process or repeating of the selection process to ensure that the prior agreed vendor is awarded the contract. Instances where a company declines award may indicate bid rigging between vendors.